Used, Chartrand,
Here.
King,
Here.
Halser,
Here.
Lachos,
Here.
Lehman,
Here.
Mowerhand.
Here.
Legislator Mosier has been excused, Dahlhoff,
Here.
and there is a District Number 9 vacancy.
Please stand for the invocation and we'll be pledged to the flag. We gather together here today intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us strength to act honestly and well in all manners before us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got this much room as Mr. Coulson's got.
these.
Well, I'd move down farther. You can have the other half to
The minutes of the January 2nd meeting have been distributed. There are no corrections. The minutes stand approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6. Sherry?
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met. They recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolution this evening. I need a motion for accept.
Randy, second. Jerry? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Privilege of the floor. Is there anyone here that would like privilege of the floor? No privilege of the floor. Presentation of communications and notices. Jerry?
The board acknowledges receipt of a resolution from the Niagara County Legislature calling on the governor to delay the New York Safe Act pistol recertification deadline, and a resolution from the Greene County Legislature urging to classify emergency medical services as essential services for the purpose of applying for and receiving state aid. And that includes communications.
Reports of county officers and departments.
The Director of Fire and Emergency Services, Robert McKenzie, has informed appointment of his 2018 Deputy Fire Coordinators, Richard Ross, Gary Ashline, Robert Bellinger, Joseph Shue, Richard DeFone, and Ron Gingrich, as well as EMS Deputy Coordinators, Mark Tuttle, Steve Monett, and David Cole. Legislators have received copies of the Treasurer's January report, the January 25th Highway and Solid Waste Audit Reports, and minutes of the December 14 Planning Board and January 17 Youth Bureau Advisory Board meetings. Sealer of Weights and Measures, James Richmeyer, has submitted his December and January monthly reports that have been placed on file. All legislators have received copies of the 2017 annual reports from all of the county departments. And that concludes reports.
Thank you, Terry. Reports of standing committees. John, Social Services, Office for the Aging, Youth.
We got some small reports here, Mr. Chairman. We met with Corrine Schiebler, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. She's new for Mountain View. She did a presentation for us. They presented a $125,000 award to be made to the Law VA. Lewis County Department of Social Services, the Youth Bureau. We met all the young adults that are on that bureau. They just received the grant money. And I found it pretty interesting that they let them really be involved in the program. That's great. And what Penny said was they try to, when they get hold of superintendents of schools, they don't want the kids in the honor roll and stuff. They just want an average student to come in and work with them, which I thought was fantastic. It makes them feel welcome there. So, and then with, what was the other one we had? Met with Jennifer Jones today. The heat program is pretty near done. It runs out February 9th. But they're looking at some emergency extensions because the winter's been pretty rough. And the SNAP program, no longer accepting waivers. That ended January 1st. And that's about all I have, Mr. Chairman. Any questions?
Any questions for John? Thank you, John. Randy, taxation, elections, information technology.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a couple quick items. With regards to the broadband, I talked with Adam, and of course, construction is kind of slow right now, obviously, but the process of obtaining land leases for new tower construction is going very well. We've had lots of positive feedback from the public regarding the project and over 20 confirmed leases to date. Also, Mohawk has negotiated with American Tower, which is a private tower company, to lease tower space in several locales to further expand their footprint and reach many residents with little or no good broadband options currently. New radios have been installed at Harrisville and they have completed testing. They'll be sending mailers out to residents stating service is now available. They will focus on those underserved areas first. Regarding the real property tax relief checks are beginning to be sent from the state. The amount of the check varies obviously depending on income, percentage of basic star savings, and the school district must have complied with the 2% tax cap. And unfortunately, Beaver River School is the only district in Lewis County that did not comply, so those residents will not be receiving any relief checks. We'll have something for a different committee.
Okay. Go ahead with that, you know.
This is, in the absence of Ron, I need a motion to authorize Jackie Mahoney to travel to Springfield, Massachusetts for a trade show from February 16th through the 19th of 2018 to promote Lewis County. And I also need a motion to authorize Jackie Mahoney to hire temporary seasonal trail workers, 1 crew leader and 3 crew workers effective 3/1/18 or thereafter as she determines appropriate according to the work.
Okay, I think we had 2 motions there, so you move the first one. Do I have a second on that? Jerry, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the second motion is to,
Authorize to hire seasonal workers.
okay, you move that in a second. Greg? Further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for Randy? Thank you, Randy. Ryan's not here. I talked with him on the phone and he said everything was quiet with county officers, veterans, and junkyards, HR. He forwarded the public health and community services notes that I gave to Dick, who's also on the chair. So Dick, if you would like to
Sure.
start with the public health.
Yep, thank you. The Public Health Committee met on January 17th. Penny Ingram reported that she and supervising public health nurse Ashley Waite are scheduled to present the public health strategic plan tonight's meeting, which we heard earlier. The following docket needs recommendation approval of the Board of Legislators, and that's the Public Health Strategic Plan. You've got that in front of you, and that was presented. You want to?
There's a resolution in your packet. There's a
Okay.
resolution in your packet.
We'll wait for that. Good. Have a motion for out-of-state travel for public health emergency preparedness coordinator. And that's a motion for them to travel to Atlanta, Georgia from April 16th to the 20th for the Public Health Preparedness Summit named Roadmap to Ready Mentorship and Training Program. It's designed for all new coordinators. The entire cost of the summit will be covered under the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant funding and has been approved by the New York State Department of Health as part of the county work plan. So I'll make that motion.
A second, John? Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And Ed, I think is it. Okay?
Thank you, Dick.
Yep.
Gary, Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, as far as building and grounds, I've been working up the PSB, putting new floor, doing some painting, renovations, sprucing the building up. Ways and Means, we should this month or next month be getting our space study back from Bernier and Carr. And then I'll swap over to the radio real quick. We've signed the contract as far as to go ahead and go with the interop channels. We're in the process of getting that scheduled. When they'll take care of it, it'll probably be early spring once the weather warms up. It was brought to our attention, I think last Thursday, that paging is acting up a little bit, so E.F. Johnson's going to look at that and see what the problem seems to be. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any questions for Gary? Thank you, Gary. Moving on to Greg, Courts and Law, Enforcement and Emergency Management.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First was Bob McKenzie was in and discussed his duties for the month, and he's putting on a basic exterior firefighter class and was recently held, and 12 students were attending, which is good because he said it's hard to get new firefighters involved. He also said that state grant funding will remain flat for the upcoming year. He estimates his hazmat grant to be about $28,000, which is what he had last year. He keeps going with his, he does quite a bit of training during the month. Then we go on to Sheriff Carpinelli. There's some dockets in here to appropriate the stop DWI and a donation into the Sheriff's Rec Park and Rec. Search and Rescue is going to put some equipment in the new shelters for a charge of $5 on the electric. And we agreed to have Lewis County Snowmobile Clubs use the radio system in their groomers at no cost. The clubs are going to get their own radios and use this restricted per agreement, which is in the, I believe, a resolution. We also created a made it a full-time permanent investigator position, effective immediately, and authorized the sheriff to fill it with a temporary investigator we had picked, and this is going to basically be about $1,000 cost to the county, but he's going to also give up a deputy, sheriff deputy. In the packet there's an agreement with the jail physician, and I believe that's about it, except for, there's one more thing I would bring up. Under Sheriff McIntosh reported that Sergeant Cronizer is taking over the scheduling for all parks and rec patrols, including snowmobiles, ATV, and boats. And 2 deputies will be attending each snowmobile training session put on free by New York State DEC. All deputies are going to be trained. The school resource officer will be assigned for patrols during times when school is not in session, and patrols are scheduled from Wednesday through Saturday, and Lake Bonaparte boat patrols will be scheduled from noon to 10, and we're going to look to get our state reimbursement maximized on that. And that's about it. That's it.
Questions? Gary?
No, I'd just like to chime in too and thank the sheriff and undersheriff for helping with recreation. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. Dick, hospital?
Okay. First off, I'll start with the employee of the month for January. The write-up goes as follows. This employee always has a positive attitude at work and always goes above and beyond her job duties. Doesn't hesitate to lend a helping hand even when not in her own department. Her positiveness is infectious and her patients appreciate it as well as her coworkers. Her hard work does not go unnoticed. She's a great asset to this facility. Employee deserves this recognition. Tina Gelati, RN, Maternity Department. And we got some year-end stuff because this was we had the end of November information. Our gain for December of 1.268520 million. The year-to-date surplus is 4,465,767 versus a budgeted item. We have a zero-based budget, so that would be about break even. And we had up and downs. We had some areas that had losses and some that had pluses. So I think it's important to hear a few of these. The net patient care revenue reached an all-time high of approximately $60 million. That was 1.4 million more than was budgeted in that area. Total operating revenue reached an all-time high of 76.4 million. That was 4-point-some million more than budget. Total expenses reached an all-time high of 72.1 million, but they were still lower than the budgeted amount by 450,000. Overall health system provided a record number of services in 2017. We continue to see a reduction in the number of inpatient services. The outpatient service lines and the additional offerings, though, make up for this decline. Acute admissions had a decrease. Nursing admissions was a decrease. Observations was a decrease. Skilled nursing facility happily is back up to an increase, currently at 95%. ER saw a decrease, but then our total clinic visits had an increase. Our outpatient visits had an increase. Adult daycare increased. CHI increased, which just means we have more people into the homes now where we were short before. And our hospice visits also increased. And you've probably all seen in the paper, tomorrow night, Wednesday, February 7th, at the Ridgeview Inn in Laval, there's a community meeting opened up to all the public to talk about a proposal or a plan that we have to go for some grant money for a new ICU and OR wing. Everybody's invited. That's at 7 o'clock. If there are any questions, that's my report.
Questions for Dick?
Where did you say it was at, Dick?
Ridgeview.
Ridgeview?
Yep. Ridgeview Inn. So it's the restaurant in the back room. 7 o'clock. I heard it at the meeting. He briefed the people there. It's very interesting. There are some rumors from that already out on the street, so I would urge everybody in here to go listen to that and hear that briefing again rather than the rumors on the street. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. We have Jerry Kayer, the hospital CEO, with us. Do you have anything that you'd like to add to the hospital report?
I'll just build upon tomorrow night's presentation. It's called the State Health Transformation Grant. The state's making available $204 million. The proposal we're putting together for the grant is $16 million. Total cost of project $22 million. And it really is looking at transforming several parts of the organization to meet healthcare needs of tomorrow. And so there'll be a greater detailed explanation with some conceptual drawings of the space that will be added and the space that will be revitalized. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Dick covered the community services report with Ryan, and included in that was a little announcement of a certificate of appreciation for Andrea for her years of service to Lewis County Community Services. Dick had a statement from Pat that we were agreed. We didn't know if we had the certificate or not, so Materialized from a different source.
You found it.
All right.
Well, I was supposed to give it to Brian, but.
The Community Services Department and Community Services Board would like to recognize legislator Andrea Morahan for her service. Andrea's passion and commitment to those who cope with mental health, substance abuse, and developmental disabilities will be missed. Andrea spent countless hours over the years attending meetings, representing the CSB at community events, and working with us on developing community-based solutions. We thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dick. Andrea, Transportation and Solid Waste.
First I have a motion to avail the option to extend the Highway Department bids for bituminous oil and paver-placed surface treatment through 12/31 of 18 for all roadway markings to Seneca pavement markings through 3/31 of 2019 and two various vendors for bog oil through 12/31/2018 in accordance with the 2017 tabulated list of bids on file with the clerk of the board.
Moved by Andrea, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I would like to thank the men who work at the highway department. I think they've done a great job this winter, and especially with the flood that we had. They worked numerous continuous hours to keep us all safe, and I appreciate that, and thank you. We'll be opening bids on February 13th. There will be stone bids. And they're still planning to go out to bid for the Jordan Falls Road Bridge and the Blue Street Bridge in the next 2 months. And I know the trees have to be cut down before that. The snow plowing is going well. The Hodge Road intersection in the town of Watson, they're planning to reconstruct that this summer, which I'm happy about. In the summer work, they're planning to hire soon. Okay, and that's all for that I have. And for solid waste, just to let you know, the price of mattresses to go to the landfill is going to, in Rodman, they raised it to $14 each, but we're going to continue to charge $7.75 per mattress or box springs, and Dank is going to cover the difference. Also, bulk tires have gone up to move them. And this morning, Ryan, Pete, Sue, John, and myself went to Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste Recycling Facility, and we toured that facility, and that was very interesting. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Question?
Yeah, aren't the mattresses gonna get boxed up or put in a container and sent to Buffalo? That's why they're gonna pay us.
Yes.
I thought that's.
Is that where they're going, is Buffalo?
Yeah, they're gonna be recycled.
Recycled.
Yes,
Instead
they
of
are
going
gonna
into
be.
the landfill, they're gonna be recycled.
Right.
On my hand.
Right, that's Tampa Park.
They tear them apart here and then they.
No, in
No,
the
I think-
landfill.
No, the landfill.
They're gonna
is
be put in a container here at our
Okay.
station.
Facility.
And then they will be trucked by a company that Dank has contracted with, and that's why Dank will pay the difference between the $7.75 and the $14, and
They
they'll
don't
be
want
taken
that.
out.
They don't want them.
Yeah.
Makes it
John?
Where, are we with the cold storage building? What's the status on that?
I don't know, does Dave know anything?
At this point, we're not moving anywhere, so that it depends on what is gonna happen with the building project. We can fix it now. We need to see how much money we're gonna put into it, how much money you guys wanna put into it in the meantime, or do we tear it down? Is there a new building going up? It's something that we need to sit down and talk about in committee.
Is that building inspected every year? Really?
Ward comes around. I mean, what kind of inspection are you talking about?
I don't know, we get dinged every year on a cold storage down the Kroger by Ward. That's why I'm wondering if that building's been inspected, and if it was, why wasn't that caught?
Well, that building's been there a long time, and those trusses, I mean, they're stress cracked. You couldn't tell by standing on the ground looking whether they were going to break or not. I mean, they've been there a long time, and the roof itself was good. It had some of that silver paint and fiber put on it to get that kind of hold of snow too. It only had a foot of snow on it when that happened. Once one popped, it just started popping down the line.
What are they on, 4-foot centers?
Yeah, we've worked on it before. I mean, we can push it up and fix it. It just depends what we want to put into it for money.
And we have talked with Ward since then, Dave and I, about what we would do to, bring it up to modern code, so to speak, if we're gonna fix it, so.
Have you, what are you gonna do with the gas pumps down there, Dave? Are they,
That's another
you're
thing.
still doing repairs?
We're still doing repairs. We have another repair coming up, which I sent an email out to the committee today. It's about $4,250 because we can't get the information from the new pumps, the dispensers, into the office, so we can't bill the people properly. So once we get this fixed, we'll be able to take care of that. If we do put in a new system, the dispensers that we purchased in the summer can go with it. This system will be able to go with it. We're not throwing good money away. Anything that we're doing with it now, we'll be able to move with another system wherever we go. So it's all up to,
Will the gas and tops, will that fuel, will you be able to get in there?
I don't like the looks of it right now.
Well, that's what I kinda wondered, to be able to.
I would hate, we have to see when they get all finished with the concrete, but to put a double wing snowplow in there and get in between them, it might be a safety issue. We have to really look at it, see. I wish they would have put it over in the middle of the parking lot so that you could drive straight through, but from what it sounds like, Tops would have had to lease more of the parking lot. They leased where they are now, that's part of Tops. If they'd have moved it over, they would have had to lease more. So I think that's the reason why it didn't get moved over to the center of the parking lot.
So that, what was going to solve our problems may not be an option.
It may not be. I know they changed their in-ground tanks to supply us enough fuel because we go through 275,000 gallons a year. That's us, the school bus garage, the fire departments, the state DOT. So they can supply us. We just need to make sure we can get in there safely.
We also talked with the new owners of the place, Sliders in Watson. They're putting in new tanks, and they called to, make sure if they're going to put in diesel that it's, going to fit our trucks. So I know we've been talking with them as well, but that's a little bit further out of the way.
So what we discussed today was looking at maybe instead of if we do put tanks and new ones for use, putting them on top of the ground.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones now, John. When I was down to the conference in Saratoga, there was a company there that had 100-year tanks.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty neat the way they had it set up down there to where you could go up with your iPhone and just punch it in, and all your information went through, and you got billed directly. I mean, it was pretty neat what they had. So there is a lot of different options now.
Yeah.
Dave.
We good with transportation? Thank you, Andrew. I have a couple comments before we move on to Ryan. Last Tuesday, I attended Dairy Day, was put on by Cooperative Cornell Extension, which is held at the Elks. And the keynote speaker was Matt Draper from Clarkson University that put on a presentation for marketing and branding. It was excellent. Michelle is here, and she had a couple of things she wanted to talk about that, and also a couple other things that are coming up.
So we were really pleased that the chairman was able to join the dairy farmers in the county and other regional cooperative extension folks and local staff at that event. It was supportive of dairy farmers. There was other things that were going on. We were talking about partial budgeting for dairy farmers and what was happening in the dairy industry. We are making a very big effort to talk with the chairman and with the county manager about what's happening in the dairy industry, and we can also update any of you at any time so that everybody is aware of what's happening. It is our largest industry for agriculture in the county, so it's a very important one. So we appreciated the chairman coming and being there with the dairy farmers that were there present that day. There is a small-scale commercial value-added dairy and meat production for farmers who are thinking about going into another venture that they would like to do. And we also are offering a new program. It's with JCC. It's with equine operations. And that is for people who have stables here in the county who are looking at going, who already have a stable or thinking about getting into that, whether they're doing horse lessons or boarding, and they're looking for some basic information about business or insurance and what does that mean, and forages and the setup and everything that goes along with that, the safety issues of that. That is coming up. And the other one is growing vegetables to sell in northern New York. We have a lot of folks who are diversifying and going into something different. So that is coming up in March, and we'll be bringing the regional specialist in and working also with Melissa Spence in our office, and we will be doing it down at Caldwell's right here in the county, and so we'll be doing some lecture part and then some hands-on, and they'll have the opportunity to talk about actually, doing what happens in the greenhouse and how that can benefit you, and we're tying that in. We just had a meeting today with the IDA about the food hub and what vegetables and how people can get involved with the produce side of it, and there's quite a lot going on in the produce side when it comes to the food hub, so how can people be involved? Any questions?
Thank you, Michelle. There's a lot of curiosity out there of what's happening with the District 9 seat that was held by Rocky. So just as an update, the Republican Party advertised that seat. They have received several applications for it, and the plan is to interview those applicants the week of February 19th, and so that they can make a recommendation to this board to fill that seat. So that will come up at the March 6th board meeting. We will have that recommendation, and we'll be able to act on that at that point. And that's all I have. Ryan, if you...
Sure. Pass these down stuff for the JCC district. Take one and pass. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Few things to go over with you guys. First of all, we had the pleasure of going to the NISAC conference last week. Legislator Burns and Legislator King were able to join us down there. And it was my first conference with NISAC, and I thought it was really, really well done. Definitely worth our time. And next year, and as we have these conferences come up, I'd encourage the rest of the board and our senior staff here to attend, because I thought it was really useful. We did do, Jerry and I went to one session that I thought was really good on crisis communication and dealing with the media, and I thought that was really helpful. And something that I hope we don't have to use.
Is that 2 seminars or 1?
You really meant working with me, right?
Yes, we're getting out our message. We talked a little bit about in committee, and I know you guys have heard from the department heads about some of the backup that we've had with our records retention and storage building. So I would like to give Linda Hoskins, the clerk, a lot of credit. She's had 2 open houses down at our record storage building this month, and department heads have been in. We've had maintenance down there to help them move boxes and move some things out. They've cleared up a whole ton of space, gotten a lot of stuff out of there, and made room for new files to go in, so that hopefully we can continue keeping that open, maybe once a month or every other month. So that's a good thing. We've had good progress with our insurance committee, with the hospital, and working with our unions, and we'll give a little bit more detail on that later this evening. On February 20th, we are going to be in Turin, I did finalize that date, giving a presentation on economic development and the importance of outdoor recreation in Lewis County. So we've got the village of Turin is going to be hosting us, and the town we've invited to join as well.
What time is that?
At 6 o'clock, yep.
And where?
Be at the village library, or the library in the village of Turin.
We started in January meeting as all the department heads the day after Board of Legislator meetings as a monthly get-together. And we had our first meeting obviously last month. We've got another one tomorrow, and I think it's been well received by department heads as an opportunity to communicate and bring up common concerns. And we've used the time to pass on different policies from the board, make sure everybody's in the loop. It's been successful so far, so I hope that's something that will continue. If you guys have something that you want to get on the agenda for those department head meetings, let me know, and we can make sure that it gets passed along. And then I passed around some information that we have regarding the JCC project, and we can get to that. But first, any questions on anything else that we've gone over so far?
On the calendar, legislative snow shows right on 15th of May. Is that still on?
I don't know anything about it.
It's, the legislative ride is in Birmingham at the Snowmad Groomer Barn. They meet at 9 o'clock. They're going to ride until 1 o'clock, and the luncheon will be at the Coach Light Inn at 1 o'clock, and then after that they are going to continue riding. So if anyone would like to attend that, I am more than welcome.
And that's the 15th, right?
15th of February. I believe it's a Thursday.
Yep.
Any other questions until we get to the JCC stuff?
I can't hear you very good in the back.
What? Okay.
Just saying.
Okay, with the JCC project, I wanted to just fill you guys in on where everything stands to this point. We have our first meeting, now that we've, we're going forward with the project here. Our first meeting will be this Thursday in the morning, and I've included the agenda for that meeting so that you guys can see what we're going to be going over. The most important thing in my mind for that meeting is to structure our future meetings.
how are we going to put together the design team, who's going to tackle certain issues like infrastructure, and we need to set up our teams and set up our timeline for moving forward. I have heard from the Ways and Means Committee that they would like to have a representative on the design team and someone at that meeting, which of course they're more than welcome to join. We are setting up an advisory committee that would have 10 members, one of which would be obviously a county legislator. So that's something that we'll be looking to put forward, and the chairman will have to determine who fills that committee.
When was that meeting? You said Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday morning, and unfortunately it conflicts with courts and law. It's at 9:30 and courts and law starts at 8:30. So, and it's in Watertown, but I was the only one that had a conflict of the whole team there from JCC and BOCES, so we went ahead and scheduled it anyway. So I'll be skipping out a little early on courts and law. I also included a budget that we've worked up with the finance and buildings and grounds departments from all three entities. I think it's pretty conclusive and I think it's pretty reasonable. So we haven't talked yet about leasing and the details once the building is built, but we're hoping that we can keep the operating costs within this framework. And if we can do that, we can use this framework to inform the rent that we will need to keep the building operating. So if you've got any questions about this, you can see myself or Frank Pace or Frank Archer. They've all worked on it. It's a little bit less. We were able to shave it down a little bit from the previous number, which was at $250,000. We were able to get it down to about $225,000, which is a little bit better for everybody, a little more palatable. And then the last thing I've included is a very rough floor plan that is not by any means set in stone. This is just the latest rendition of what the BOCES and JCC envisions for the space, with Cornell in there as well. So maybe a little bit morphed from where it had started in terms of the amount of lab space to classroom space, but this is what they would like. And obviously we've got to dig in much deeper and get professional architectural prints and everything else, but this is kind of their vision at this point. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions from the board.
Is that still a 20,000 square foot building, or does that add up to more?
It adds up to 22,000 square feet, with Cornell Cooperative making up the 2,000 square feet.
Thank you. John?
Me and Ryan talked today, and I really think on a project this side, we need an outside clerk of the works to oversee this.
Okay, sure we can enter that into the discussion.
Yeah, we were just talking on our ride down to the Solid Waste Authority about project management and how we're going to go about it, and John was sharing some of his experience from Beaver River, I think, when they were doing some of their additions, and certainly something that we're willing to entertain.
Any other questions for Ryan? Thank you, Ryan. Patty, County Treasurer report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the monthly balances. Special legislative contingency is at $99,905. Contingency is at $400,000. Capital data processing is at $116,553.87. Capital equipment, highway portion $7,379.85. County portion $400,039.05. Sales tax is at $10,682.103. We will have the final figures mid-February, but we certainly will have met our budget and gone over. Hospital repayment, they are up to date, and the balance is $1.1 million. And internal service We do not have the December figures, but through November, fund balance is at 1.9 million. And November did have a positive variance. And that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Questions for Patty? Thank you, Patty. Report of the Ways and Means Committee per Rule 7, Terry.
Ways and Means Committee reports they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $1,726,161.10 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed. That is signed by the entire committee. Need a motion to accept.
Motion to accept. Andrea, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And the first resolution is auditing and allowing the claims for $1,726,161.10.
Moved by Greg, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor?
It's got to be a roll call.
Oh, sorry.
Burns is absent. Chartrand,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Colzer,
Yes.
Lachos,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Marahan,
Yes.
absent. Bellhop.
Yes.
Resolution 29 is appointing member to Lewis County Agricultural Society Board.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
With reference to inclusion of agriculturally viable land into the certified Ag District 6 and setting a public hearing to obtain community input.
Moved by Andrea, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing opening of certain portions of county roads for ATV special events.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorize payment capital gains AC extension center.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, capital equipment.
Moved by Greg, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Agreement between county and New York State Housing Trust Fund for the CDBG grant.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion. In favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing and naming county manager as second signatory for the New York State Small Cities Community Development Block Grant.
Moved by John, second by Randy. Discussion. We sure we want to do this?
I said as long as I don't have to sit through the webinars.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing subrecipient agreement between county and Snowbelt Housing.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing a special counsel agreement with Simmons, Hanley, Conroy to begin a lawsuit against pharmaceutical companies on behalf of the county to recover damages and costs associated with opioid epidemic.
Moved by Andrea, second by John. Discussion.
Yeah, the only thing I would like to comment on is if we do win this lawsuit and get money, we need to make sure we get the money where it's gonna help the people. That's it.
Jerry, anyone else? Dick?
This motion will put our taxpayers of Lewis County on a equal footing with the taxpayers in the counties around us, so I believe this is a good thing.
Thank you, Dick. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing one-time distribution to certain villages to assist in water infrastructure expenses and improvement costs.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
To transfer funds, economic development.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing and ratifying memorandum of understanding and authorizing a lease agreement between the county and JCC for building an educational center in Lewis County with educational curriculum and programs provided and serviced by JCC.
Moved by Randy, second by John. Discussion? Dick?
This is authorizing that we develop a lease agreement, right? I didn't see the whole lease agreement.
Yes, that's,
This is
yes.
authorized, yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
We have the MOU, which you're ratifying now, and then we will work on the actual lease agreement. We've talked about and had some discussions on the terms.
Sounds fine.
And that's for the 20,000 square feet.
Yes. Yep.
Because the other 2,000 would be,
For Cornell Cooperative.
And they're gonna pay for their 2,000 square feet then? Or is it coming out of our 4 million?
Through rent.
Yeah.
To rent. Okay.
Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, capital county road striping.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Amending compensation plan with reference to highway department.
Moved by Andrea, second by Jerry. Discussion? John?
Why are we gonna take a guy and put him into a supervisor's position?
Chris, would you like to address that?
We have a pending retirement of our maintenance supervisor. He currently holds a union position, which causes conflicts when he wants to invoke any type of discipline. We also use him now on the snow plowing operations, and we have to pay him overtime for that. We'd like to remove that duty from him to save overtime. We'd also like to have a management employee in charge of the mechanic and the maintenance operation to address disciplines and evaluations and those types of things. We think it better serve us if that position were out of the union.
I don't agree with it.
Jerry?
I guess the other question I had, we're gonna take this person out of plowing, but we're still gonna have to plow. Who's gonna pick that up?
It'd be somebody at a lot lower price than you would be on the others.
Okay.
Anything further? All in favor?
so,
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
you're gonna abolish the automotive mechanics supervisor. Now that salary that's his salary, that's not with overtime, right?
No, that's just his base salary.
That's a base.
Yes.
So with overtime, he gets, would he be above the salary he's gonna get?
Right now, I would assume that that person would average about $14,000 in overtime a year.
So he's taking a cut.
Super. Thanks, Dave.
How many mechanics we have down there?
3.
And we need a supervisor for 3 people?
there's a lot more to it than that. You should come down sometime and we can show you everything that's involved with it. You know, with the DEC paperwork, with all the requisitions now. I mean, Ryan sees how many requisitions a day from that. I mean, the paperwork, it's a nightmare.
Do we have any further comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Show John and Randy opposed.
There are not enough
That
votes
doesn't
to
pass.
pass, no.
Correct. Motion is defeated.
Authorizing supplemental agreement between the state DOT for the bridge project, Jordan Falls Road over West Branch Oswegatchie River.
Moved by Dick, second by Jared. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
To appropriate funds, Jordan Falls Road over Oswegatchie River.
Moved by Jerry, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing Lewis County to accept real property obtained by the state of New York relative to the County Route 33 Van Elmer Road Bridge over Beaver River project.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Lewis County General Hospital.
Moved by Andrea, second by Dick. Discussion? Greg?
Is this a new position, Dick?
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna add another registered nurse case manager?
Mm-hmm.
And is that person's real duties?
They're going to increase our income from lost claims and take over pretty much all the practice of the clinics and make sure that that building is accountable and
You mean the clinics that are like Beaver Falls and
all of our clinics, yeah.
that's this case, she's gonna do the paperwork basically?
She's gonna review the claims, make sure that
And we
build the right amount,
we
for
need
the right claim.
a nurse case manager for that?
Need somebody with a lot of experience. Gary, you wanna add in?
This is somebody who helps with population health management, and we participate in the DSRIP initiative, and it's really trying to meet certain public health goals. So DSRIP has helped fund this position. We have generated over $800,000 worth of DSRIP resources, so we're reinvesting that money in population health management. This particular person will focus on patients who are in our established clinics. So an example would be, blood pressure management, diabetic management, weight management, those sorts of things. So this is a person who works directly with the patients.
So this person's not pushing paper then?
There's a fair amount of paper in healthcare, so
Right.
there'll be some of that, but it's a lot of face time with patients.
Just seems like you had a lot of positions up there. You don't have somebody who can just swing into that versus hiring new?
No, I suspect, I would not be surprised if somebody from one of the acute floors applies for the position.
And then you'd be backfilling.
Then we'd
that.
have to backfill that position, right?
Well, I just question these because I really think you should start looking at you're providing services on your nursing home floors. I don't think you have enough staff on there most days of the week.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that assessment. We currently have somewhere between 20 and 40 open positions for the nursing home today as we speak. But this is something entirely different with a funding source that's entirely different. But I appreciate the question.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing extension to agreement between Frontier and the county.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion, Jerry?
Yeah, I just got one question. Is this pretty much in line with what we've been paying before? Has it gone up a little bit?
It's actually $50 cheaper because Frontier's handling their PRIs in the town now.
Okay.
And then we took the savings and we bumped our Ethernet circuit up. We doubled that. So it's
Okay.
like $25 more a month, and we get a lot better.
Thank you.
When the Mohawks come in, will they be able to provide us some of the service?
No, these are the circuits like for every phone in the building. We manage about 280 phones within the county, and those are the circuits that you really need fiber circuits.
Good.
Anything further? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
To transfer funds from the Charles Historical Society.
Moved by Dick, second by Randy. Discussion?
Jerry, I believe this was to write an omission, right? That's what this was here for? We recognized other historical societies. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. Anything further? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement between probation and Children's Home of Jefferson County. And I would note that the introducing legislator is Greg Kulzer, not Jerry King, so I can make that correction.
Moved by Andrea, second by Jerry. Discussion?
Greg, this has savings for us too, right?
Yes, I believe
There's
so.
other options?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing and adopting public health strategic plan.
Moved by Jerry, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement between Public Health and Wade North LLC.
Moved by John, second by Andrea. Discussion? Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, this is developed, I thought we were trying to get one person to do all the county stuff.
This is for our tourism app? No, it isn't.
No, this is for public health.
Oh, sorry.
But did we contract with somebody or have something going that one person was doing all of our stuff? I'm just asking, I'm not sure.
No, and I think this is really part of their strategic plan to have a web presence. And this is a company that is familiar with public health and knows and can do develop the web app. And maybe eventually, Jerry, we might end up with somebody who can manage all of that, but this is really coming through public health.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Appointing member to Health Services Advisory Board.
Moved by Andrea, second by Greg. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Fixing date of public hearing for opening section of County Route 28 to Lewis County Snowmobile Trail.
Moved by John, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement with Aviat Networks for remote maintenance and support services on the microwave radios and antenna systems.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing MOU between the county by and through the sheriff and 911 Emergency Operations Unit with snowmobile clubs for access to the county's 911 emergency system.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
To rescind Resolution 126, 2017, and authorize MOU with the Harrisville Fire Department to lease space on county's Harrisville Tower and its equipment shelter.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing MOU with Search and Rescue to lease space on county's tower, number 3 road site.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Discussion. In favor? Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by John, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
To add compensation plan with reference to the undersheriff.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Amending the compensation plan to create additional full-time staff in the Sheriff's Department.
Moved by somebody. Greg, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor?
Give everybody a chance.
All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Amending compensation plan with reference to the Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing MOU between the sheriff and the hospital regarding provision of jail physician services.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To transfer funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by John, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement between Social Services and JCC.
Moved by Jerry, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement with Development Authority to recycle mattresses and transfer fees charged for same.
Moved by John. Second, Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Amending tip fee schedule for Lewis County transfer stations.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion.
Adrian, is this increase gonna cover what they increased? No, we're gonna flat out. No.
As far as I know, yes.
Go ahead, Jerry.
How much did it jump up from what we were paying before, anybody know? Per ton?
I don't remember the exact amount, but we weren't breaking even, which isn't good for an enterprise fund, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I take it they weigh all the tires coming in now, and they weigh them to whoever, didn't just float them in a pile.
Oh, no.
I think if they're of a certain size, the really big ones are the ones we're concerned about.
Yeah, those are really
That
expensive.
one, there's 21 or 20 inches or like.
The smaller ones are still.
Their big concern, Dick, is like skidder tires and stuff like that.
The smaller ones are still the way they were, okay.
You probably would weigh the truck coming in and then weigh the truck going out, would be my assumption.
That's what I was wondering if that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people bring them in onesies, twosies too. I mean, they figure it out.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, DWI.
Moved by Jerry, second by somebody. Randy? Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing the application to New York State DOT, approval of installation of 40 Lewis County public transportation bus stop signs.
Moved by Andrea, second by John. Discussion.
Is our highway department making these things?
Yes, they are.
All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement between treasurer and Beneski and Company.
Moved by Jerry, seconded by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
One late resolution, appointing member to IDA Board of Directors, Ron Burns.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion.
Is he's taking Brian's spot?
He'd be taking Craig's spot.
Craig's.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. No, he'd just be a member, Jerry. I believe they vote internally for chair. Thank you. Do we have any other business before we go into executive session? We can take a couple-minute break. We're good?
Mr. Chairman, you just have to specify why we're going into executive session.
Can you help me with that?
All the sheets, it's,
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the JCC project, the health insurance plan changes, labor negotiations, and a couple of ongoing litigation
In
items.
terms of the JCC project, we're talking about contract terms.
Thank you. Take a 5-minute break.
We need a second and we need
Can we do that now or, okay. Motion. Moved by Jerry. Second by who? Dick. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.